The Taiwanese chipmaker TSMC has seen its pre-tax profits leap by 57% in the last quarter of 2024 to $11.4 billion. It's an indicator of sustained AI investment by the likes of Microsoft and Amazon. Both companies are expanding their data center endeavors so fast, they're actually building nuclear reactors to power them. But geopolitical ructions may hamper the chip makers' continued growth this year. Well, let's explore this with Malcolm Penn, who's Chairman and Chief Executive of Future Horizons. It's a consultancy in the semiconductor and electronics industry. Malcolm, good morning to you. Wasn't surprised at all to hear that in the last quarter of last year, TSMC saw huge profits when you take into account the race for AI among the world's biggest companies.
Well, exactly. I mean, to some extent, the results were quite unsurprising because they do have a dominant position, not only in AI, but in the whole manufacturing sector. So their companies that they serve ranges from the NVIDIA, which supports the chips for the AI sector, but also Apple. All of the chips or the main brains of the chip in their iPhone 16, which is currently ramping production, is also part of there. So in the fourth quarter, they had two huge market drivers and they just couldn't make enough chips. So, and they are the monopoly in that sector there, so they have no real competition. So it's not surprising that these results are that good.
There are questions, though, about what the future holds. Interestingly, Marco Rubio, who is President-elect Trump's nomination for Secretary of State, the US's top diplomat, has been speaking in the last 24 hours saying China is the biggest threat going forward to the US and its ambitions when it comes to Taiwan in particular. What are your thoughts on that elephant in the room, as it were, when it's about TSMC's outlook?
Yes, I mean, longer term, these are the real issues, and they are political rather than business oriented. Because I think there's two sides to that. One is China's political ambitions for Taiwan, but there's also the fact that we have TSMC as being a huge importer into America. So on the one hand, you've got this political threat. What will China do to Taiwan? Will it nationalize it? Will it bring it back into the Chinese industry, national industry? And what about the tariffs that President Trump is thinking of bringing in? That will directly affect TSMC as well.
Yeah, and also it's interesting how TSMC has developed in the last year, and I'm sure that the geopolitics and the risk is very much a part of that development, i.e. its big investment in its plant in Dresden in Europe, which was a huge boost to the European chip sector and its own security in that area. Also in the US as well, its own investment as in boots on the ground in the US.
That's absolutely right. But I mean, in reality, these are just a drop in the ocean. It's a very tiny part of the total manufacturing monolith that TSMC has developed. And also, at the very, very leading edge of technology, the Taiwanese government has restrictions in place on what TSMC is actually allowed to do offshore. So it's not the complete problem, and it will take, I mean, it took TSMC 25 years to build up this juggernaut. So you're not going to reverse that overnight just by building a couple of fabs in Europe and the USA.
Malcolm, thanks for your time. We'll see you again soon. Malcolm Penn there.